And don't they realize that those people are going to be locked up as well? Anyone with any political agendas that are not absolutely in total support of the totalitarian state ideology or total communism are going to be locked up as well. I don't know how these people don't realize that. This is the natural progression we are seeing throughout history, throughout all the civilizations that have fallen and becoming full communist and full totalitarian. We are living in the early stages of that. And the symptoms of things like political activists and journalists being locked up, as we're seeing with Tommy, are the symptoms of the early stages of, say, North Korea. I would say about 100 years ago, the same things were happening to people there. And it's shocking. There's an sort of an electricity in the air in Britain right now of total and utter anger and distrust, and people who have been thrown away to the side, and people who've been left to basically defend for themselves, to fend for their family, with a police force which is totally uninterested in looking after them, a government which is totally uninterested in looking after them, and the left-wing government and the right-wing government. The Conservatives right now conserve nothing. There's nothing right-wing about them. And it's the same with, obviously, the Labour Communist Party. They've been completely abandoned. And now they're emboldened, they're empowered to be able to take it out onto the streets. The V for Vendetta analogy, absolutely fantastic analogy. It looked really, without the explosions, but with people trying to desperately climb over the gates of Downing Street. It was astounding. I've never seen anything like that before. And Tommy and I have been to hundreds and hundreds of marches throughout the last year, and we've seen them on the left, we've seen marches on the right, more sort of parades, you'd call them, on the left. And there has never quite been an anger like this.
I'm Alex Jones. Riding shotgun with me is Owen Schroyer. Caolan Robertson's with us for one more segment. And we're talking about Tommy Robinson sentenced secretly to 13 months in prison for not covering any details of a giant trial into secret pedophile networks. In just one case, hundreds of victim girls, dozens of men reportedly involved, a lot of the evidence pretty open and shut. No, just for being there and reporting on it. So now, coming up tomorrow, it'll be 7 days Tommy Robinson has been in the hoosegow. So what can you tell us, Caolan, and jump in here with any questions you have, Owen, riding shotgun?
Well, I don't think he's very surprised. We've only, as I said, had drips and drabs of information. We actually can confirm that we'll be able to get much more contact with him from tomorrow afternoon. And as soon as we do, we'll come straight onto InfoWars and I'll keep you up to date with everything that's been happening. To go back, obviously, he's personally thanked you for all the support, for the people who have supported. He said that he supports the protest that's happening on the 9th. He said he supported all the things that people have been doing to try and raise the profile of this. He basically wants to make a point that this isn't just about him. He wants people to go out and protest about what's happening in Britain. He's going to go down sort of as the one who signifies what's going on. He wants people to go out and protest that, not even his imprisonment. Yeah, I mean, the next stage of this is we also, as well as the legal battle, we want to be meeting with Pauline Hanson, Geert Wilders, and the German. We actually want to arrange a meeting with the German member of parliament, politician, who said that he actually wanted to give political asylum to Tommy in this case. Can you imagine how, that signifies how bad things have really got in this country when Germany is offering political asylum. But yeah, so those are the next stages of everything. Obviously, we've had a very, very strange mixed response with this. We've had people on the left saying, well, what does he expect? And you know what you say to that? Well, maybe they're right. What did he expect? Being in a totalitarian state and trying to speak out against the truth and trying to actually notify people about the atrocities and the rape gangs and the politics and the problems of Islam. Maybe what did he expect? Probably to go to prison. But he still did it because he wanted to defend the rights of this country and speak out for the people that have been silenced. And he's absolutely a hero for doing that. I mean, the police are absolutely terrified of Islam, and he's highlighted those things. We've actually had reports of Muslims who have been celebrating this, who have been talking to reporters, saying that it's a really, really great thing. I know that there's a couple of InfoWars reporters in Britain right now. I want to take them to these areas that actually show them what's going on and show them the people who are supporting this and celebrating this.
Please do.
It will prove. Yeah, well, we're going to be working on that right now, and it's going to be incredibly important to carry on the legacy that Tommy stopped, because things aren't going to stop. We spoke to Tommy recently, and he said that he wants to carry on his channel. We're going to be carrying on making all the videos we have been doing before without him presenting them. They can speak for themselves. We'll do it through InfoWars. We'll do it through his personal channel. We'll carry on plowing through it, because even though they can try and silence him, it's absolutely not going to work. The legacy, the content, what he has to say has started a ball rolling. That's absolutely.
By the way, you brought up a point I wanted to get to, and no one's jumping in here. our own Harrison Smith and our camera person that's there with him, about half the folks are like, good, lock Tommy up. The others are horrified, but to find that many people are like, I want to lock people up and have them disappear for criticizing pedophiles. I mean, what a whacked out level of sycophants.
Oh, exactly. And don't they realize that those people are going to be locked up as well? Anyone with any political agendas that are not absolutely in total support of the totalitarian state ideology or total communism are going to be locked up as well. I don't know how these people don't realize that. This is the natural progression we are seeing throughout history, throughout all the civilizations that have fallen and becoming full communist and full totalitarian. We are living in the early stages of that. And the symptoms of things like political activists and journalists being locked up, as we're seeing with Tommy, are the symptoms of the early stages of, say, North Korea. I would say about 100 years ago, the same things were happening to people there. And it's shocking that people just want to override it and say, well, just because I don't fundamentally agree with the content of what Tommy says, or, you know what, because he's kind of working class and I guess he's a little bit icky and it doesn't really make me look very good, then he should be thrown away and silenced because it doesn't really suit what I want to say. Those people are totally mistaken. They have no idea what's coming. And if they don't join with this and they don't carry on with it, they're going to be taken down next. But the main goal is to get him out of prison as soon as possible, as fast as possible. Right now, he is relatively safe. He's surrounded by people who are on side with him. Fortunately, the very wing and department of the prison that he's in is relatively safe, but he could be moved at any moment to one of the thousands of radical Islamic training grounds that are our prisons in Britain, and it could be coming very, very ugly very, very quickly. So the number one goal right now is to get him free as absolutely fast as possible so we can get back on the ground and report.
Does he have regular access to a telephone? Is he able to regularly access a telephone?
For seconds a day, very, very, very small amounts of information is coming out, but we will be able to get more information out after tomorrow afternoon once we've got a new line of communication set up.
I just wanted to finish up with how folks donate and just that rousing speech you gave on Sunday that went so viral on air with us about the real awakening that's happening. What do you think of Katie Hopkins and her point about Europe being on a knife edge, the UK being on a knife edge?
Well, there's a very interesting crossover between Tommy and Katie, and it's very, very similar. They just seem to be even more open about it with Katie, talking openly about assassinating her. I don't know why they think they can get away with that, but she said something interesting on Tucker. She said that there's a real feeling that the establishment is against them, talking as the people who are protesting and the real people of Britain. And that's exactly right. I couldn't have put it better myself. There's an electricity in the air in Britain right now of total and utter anger and distrust, and people who have been thrown away to the side, and people who've been left to basically defend for themselves, to fend for their family, with a police force which is totally uninterested in looking after them, a government which is totally uninterested in looking after them, and the left-wing government and the right-wing government. The Conservatives right now conserve nothing. There's nothing right-wing about them. And it's the same with, obviously, the Labour Communist Party. They've been completely abandoned. And now they're emboldened, they're empowered to be able to take it out onto the streets. The V for Vendetta analogy, absolutely fantastic analogy. It looked really, without the explosions, but with people trying to desperately climb over the gates of Downing Street. It was astounding. I've never seen anything like that before. And Tommy and I have been to hundreds and hundreds of marches throughout the last year. And we've seen them on the left. We've seen marches on the right, more sort of parades, you'd call them, on the left. And there has never quite been an anger like this. And that's because they messed up. They completely messed up. When Tommy was in the EDL, when he was in the English Defence League, they would throw him in prison and no one would know anything about it except for the 10, 20, 30,000 people who would go to his marches. But now things are massively different. And that's because of InfoWars and the internet and sites like yours, which are publicizing and making a big deal and telling everything about what they're doing and exposing all of it. And that has created a huge tectonic shift within the politics and the groundwork of our society, which has fractured and broken all the existing establishments and all the existing communities, and it's given a rise to a new group of people, from the middle class to the working class, to the educated, the uneducated, the middle class. Everybody has started to realize what's going on, and they're rising up. And the establishment will not see anything like this. It will have nothing on the poll riots. It will have nothing on anything else that's happened like this before, and it's going to be completely astounding. And it's justified, and it's absolutely right. And people should go out and they should be angry. And that's how this country's feeling.
You're right. There is a...
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.